Retta, what's going on with you? I'm leaving him, Diane. He just exists in my house, eating food I cooked, sleeping in a bed I made. And I've been standing in the middle of this marriage for 27 years waiting for him to show up, really show up. I gave that man the best years of my life, Diane, my 30s, my 40s. And I've been standing in the middle of this marriage for 27 years waiting for him to show up. Really? And he's not coming, and I am done waiting. I sent him the divorce papers, and he didn't even call me back. Not to stop me, not to fix things. He didn't even ask if I was okay. I don't know, maybe he's already found someone else. Maybe he just doesn't have the courage to say it to my face. I don't even have the energy to be angry anymore. I'm just done with his selfishness.
The morning Loretta Mae Calloway walked out of that house on Delwood Avenue in Memphis, Tennessee. She didn't slam the door. She didn't cry. She didn't even take her good coat. She just pulled her suitcase, the burgundy one with the broken wheel she'd been meaning to fix for 6 years, and she dragged it down the front steps like a woman who had already done her grieving in private. Her neighbor, Miss Yvette, watched from behind her blinds and later told everybody at First Baptist that Loretta looked like a woman who had set down something too heavy to carry any longer. Not broken, not angry, released. What nobody knew, not Miss Yvette, not Loretta's sister Diane, not even Loretta herself yet, was that the man she was leaving had a secret, and that secret was going to change everything she thought she knew about those 27 years. This is where it all began.
Loretta had married Gerald Calloway in the summer of 1996 at Greater Hope Missionary Baptist Church on South Parkway. She was 24. He was 31. He wore a cream-colored suit and a smile that could have sold you oceanfront property in Kansas. Everybody said Gerald Calloway was a good man, steady, dependable, the kind of man you build something with, and for a while, she believed it too. They built their life brick by brick, the way Black families in South Memphis learned to, carefully, without waste, with one eye always on a storm. Gerald worked dispatch for a trucking company out on Elvis Presley Boulevard. Loretta taught 3rd grade at Riverview Elementary for 21 of those 27 years. They never had children, which was a wound they learned to live around rather than through. They went to church on Sundays. They had fish fries on Fridays in the summertime. They were fine. But fine is a dangerous word. Fine is what you say when you've stopped asking for more. Somewhere around year 12, Loretta noticed that Gerald had a second phone. She noticed it the way wives notice everything, not all at once, but in pieces. A notification sound at 11 p.m. that wasn't his regular ringtone. A charger she didn't recognize in the glove compartment. A Tuesday evening when he said he was working late but came home smelling like someone else's cooking. She never said anything, not once. Not because she was weak. Lord knows Loretta Mae was not weak. But because she'd watched her own mother confront her father, and what came after that was worse than the silence. So she made a calculation. She stayed. She kept her classroom, her garden on the east side of the house, her Thursday evening calls with Diane. She loved Gerald in the way you love a house that has a slow leak, carefully, knowing one day you'll have to choose between fixing it and leaving. Year 27, she chose. She didn't leave because of another phone or another late night. She left because one Tuesday morning, she looked at herself in the bathroom mirror and didn't recognize the woman looking back. And that woman, hollow-eyed, patient beyond reason, deserved better than a life of fine. What she didn't know when she dragged that burgundy suitcase down the steps was that Gerald had been expecting her to leave for 10 years and that he had done something about it. Loretta moved into a studio apartment on Union Avenue, not far from where the old soul food spots used to be before everything started changing. The building was older, the radiator loud, the neighbors friendly in that southern way where people actually looked you in the eye. For the first 3 weeks, she cried every night, not for Gerald, for the years, for the version of herself she'd put in storage. It was on a Wednesday, 6 weeks after she'd left, that she first saw the man outside the Walgreens on the corner. He was sleeping on a flattened cardboard box, wrapped in a military jacket, despite the October heat still hanging over Memphis like a wet sheet. He was tall, even curled up, dark-skinned with silver at his temples, probably somewhere in his late 60s. Something about him stopped her cold. She bought him a sandwich and a bottle of water. He thanked her with a voice that sounded like it belonged to a man who had once commanded rooms. His name was Clarence. Over the following weeks, Loretta found herself stopping for Clarence every few days. She brought food, clean socks, a blanket when November came in cold and mean. He never begged, never performed his poverty for her sympathy. He just talked. He told her about growing up in Clarksdale, Mississippi, about coming to Memphis in the 70s and working at the Stax recording studio as a young sound engineer, about a woman he'd loved and a decision he'd made that he'd regret until he died. Loretta listened the way she'd always listened, completely. And slowly, Clarence began to feel like the first honest conversation she'd had in years. One evening, as the sun dropped behind the buildings on Union, Clarence looked at her with careful eyes and said, "Before I die, I got one last wish. I want to sleep in a real bed. Just one more night. That's all I'm asking from this world." Loretta didn't answer right away. She said yes. Not because she was reckless, because she understood, bone deep, what it meant to want one good thing before it was over. She drove Clarence to a motel on Summer Avenue, clean, decent, the kind of place where nobody asked questions and the sheets were always white. She got him a room. She sat in the chair by the window while he slept in that bed, like a man who had been holding his breath for 20 years. She watched him sleep, and she thought about Gerald. About what it meant to lie beside someone night after night and never really rest. In the morning, Clarence reached into the pocket of his military jacket and pulled out a folded envelope. He held it out to her with both hands, the way you offer something sacred. "This belongs to someone," he said. "I've been carrying it for a long time. It's yours now." Inside was a letter, handwritten. She recognized the handwriting before she even read a word. It was Gerald's. The letter was dated 3 years ago. Gerald had written to Clarence, not to a stranger, but to his older brother. The brother nobody in Loretta's life knew existed, because Gerald had told her his whole family was gone, that they died when he was young, that he was alone in the world before he found her. The letter explained everything in Gerald's careful, deliberate cursive. He had cut off Clarence 30 years ago after Clarence came home from Vietnam, changed in ways their mother couldn't understand, and Gerald refused to accept. He had been ashamed. He had been young and rigid and wrong. He had spent the next 3 decades building a life to compensate for that shame. A stable job, a faithful wife, a respectable pew at Greater Hope, as penance for the brother he'd abandoned. But he had never stopped looking for him. The second page of the letter, and this was the part that split Loretta's chest open, was an apology to her. Gerald had written,
"I gave Loretta a life that was really about making me feel worthy. She deserved better. I always knew she deserved better. I stayed because I was afraid if she knew who I really was, a man who threw away his own blood, she'd see I wasn't worth the love she kept giving me. I was right. But she should know, every good thing in my life came from watching her."
Loretta sat on the edge of that motel bed on Summer Avenue and read that letter 4 times. By the 4th reading, she wasn't crying. She was somewhere past crying. She was in that still, silent place where understanding lives, the place that doesn't feel like peace yet, but knows peace is coming. She looked up at Clarence, at Gerald's brother, her brother-in-law, this man she'd been feeding sandwiches on a street corner, and she said the only thing there was to say,
He wrote you all these years, and he wrote you.
Clarence nodded slowly.
Didn't find me until 6 months ago. Letter got forwarded 3 times before it finally caught up with me. Gerald passed in August, baby, heart attack. He asked a hospice nurse to find me before he went.
Gerald Calloway had been dead for 2 months when Loretta dragged that burgundy suitcase down the front steps of the house on Delwood Avenue. She hadn't known. The divorce papers she'd filed had been returned unopened. She had assumed he was ignoring them. She had felt righteous about his silence. She had built an entire architecture of closure on a foundation she didn't understand. He had been gone. In his will, which his lawyer contacted her about the following week. Gerald had left her the house, the savings account, and the life insurance policy she'd never known about. He had also left Clarence a letter of introduction to the Veterans Affairs office on Poplar Avenue and 3 months' rent paid in advance for a room in a transitional housing facility on the north side. He had done what he could, late and imperfect and not enough, in the only time he had left. Loretta sat in the lawyer's office on Madison Avenue with her hands folded in her lap and her face completely still. When the lawyer finished, she thanked him. She walked out into the November light. She called Diane. She stood on the sidewalk and listened to her sister's voice and let herself be known. Later, she drove to pick up Clarence and take him to his new room. She helped him carry his military jacket and his cardboard box and the small paper bag that held everything he owned. She made his bed with fresh sheets she'd bought at Target. She put a lamp on the nightstand. Before she left, Clarence held her hand.
He loved you. In all the wrong ways, for all the right reasons. But he loved you.
Loretta squeezed his hand. When she was leaving, Clarence said,
Some people love us poorly, but completely. Understanding the difference doesn't erase the cost, but it does change what we do with what remains.
She walked to her car. She sat for a long time in the parking lot, and then she started the engine.
I made your coffee every morning, pressed your shirt and held my tongue. Loved you through your quiet secrets, gave you everything I had. Gave you everything I had. And I thought leaving meant I lost it. Every year I laid at your side, but the truth came dressed in sorrow, and it finally opened my eyes. 27 years I gave you, 27 years I stayed.